Hello, everyone. This is Coresair Mack, President of the Illinois Mental Health Counselors Association. And today I'm joined by our very own IMHCA Secretary, Vanessa Morales-Lopez. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I'm happy to be here.
No problem, no problem. We're happy to have you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay.
All right, so all your fans want to know, how did you become interested in counseling?
Well, I was going to say is that oftentimes I don't feel like everybody that's a therapist went in a direct path. I definitely know I didn't. And I started off as a teacher. So I was a secondary English teacher, and I found that I enjoyed my time the most before class, after school, and just those times where I was really able to make connections with students and their families. And so I originally was planning to go back to school for school counseling. And that's the track I was approaching. And I realized that I actually would much rather be in a community setting. And so I changed tracks again. And now I am an LCPC.
All right, perfect, 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 perfect. Happy to hear that. It's interesting. A lot of people always come from working in the school to wanting to do mental health. So
Mm,
that's an interesting bridge that you just connected and crossed. So
I
then that,
definitely appreciate them. All the teachers, the educators, the school counselors, it's tough work. All those different settings. It's different and it's challenging, but yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it.
Mhm. Oh yeah, definitely. So then with that being said, speaking of school, so what school did you go to for your undergrad and your graduate degree?
Okay, I am excited to say I am a double demon. So um,
Oh,
I went to DePaul twice. So I was an undergraduate. Blah, 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 blah. Try that again. I completed my undergraduate degree and my graduate degree both from DePaul University. So yeah, double demon here.
all right, perfect. So then after you graduate, you start doing therapy. How
Yeah.
long have you been doing therapy for, actually?
I'm getting close to 10 years.
Oh,
Been a while.
all right. Congratulations on your 10-year anniversary. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So then, speaking of that, after you graduated, a lot of people, especially when graduating from their masters and getting their masters, essentially, they always wonder, where do I go? What do I do? Who do I work for?
Yeah.
And all that fun stuff. So then, what places did you work at starting off in your profession? And what did you learn as a result from working at those places?
Yes. Oh, wow. That's such a big question. So when I was in graduate school, I was very excited about trying to get experience because I was like, I'm not going to be able to find a job if I have no experience. But it turns out they don't let you practice therapy if you're not licensed. So I couldn't get any direct experience. And so what I ended up seeing was an opportunity to work the crisis line for a year as a volunteer within a domestic violence agency. And they would give me the 40-hour training in exchange. And so while I was in my graduate school, my first year, I pursued it. So I received my 40-hour training in domestic violence, and then I volunteered as the crisis line responder worker for a year. And then from there, I also had the opportunity to serve as a court advocate. And so I was really working within domestic violence throughout my graduate career. And eventually, I had my chance to do my practicum and internship with the same domestic violence agency. And so all of those were really amazing experiences for me. I think it really helped to shape me as a therapist for my entire duration of my career. I really focus on that relational approach, that empowerment approach, and really trying to be person centered and meeting clients with where they're at, and helping them get to where they think they should be, not where, we're the experts they are, and they're the experts of themselves. Um, so I'm also an Illinois certified domestic violence professional, and that's where that all started. And I'm just so grateful for that. Additionally, I work with survivors of sexual abuse, or those that maybe had witnessed homicide or violence, specifically children working at the Chicago Children's Advocacy Center. I work with Volunteers of America serving veterans. who were experiencing homelessness and were transitioning to long-term housing. I've also worked in private practice settings, and now I'm the owner of my own private practice, Rise Wellness and Therapy.
Wow, that is quite a resume. You really have done it all, right?
Different experiences. I'd like to say I'm passionate about serving trauma survivors or survivors of trauma, I should say.
Right. So on a side note, I know you mentioned you got your ICDVP. So if you know off the top of your head, what is the process of getting that? Is it just completing the 40 hours or do you have to do anything outside of that?
So what you will have to first do is to do your 40-hour training. And then after that, in order to be eligible to take the exam to receive certification, you then have to do supervised hours. And so that usually equates to about a year to 2 years of service. I'm sorry, don't quote me on that. I can look it up for you. But then you have to do those years of service to receive those hours, and then you're eligible to take the certification exam. And then after you pass that exam, then you're allowed to say that you're an Illinois certified domestic violence professional. And then you have to maintain about 30 CEUs every 2 years in order to maintain it.
Wow. Sounds like a lot, but better you than me. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
All right. So within all of your experiences, like I mentioned, you've done a lot, but something had to have pulled you from doing all that stuff to eventually, starting your own private practice.
Mhm.
So what was that process that led you to wanting to start your own private process? And did you have to overcome any hurdles or barriers to start that?
Yeah, so definitely. Well, I like to think of myself as just kind of trying to be a champion of individuals' experiences. I want people to be able to have the life that they want to lead. And I also think that that means I have to have the life that I want to lead. And what I felt was that being in private practice afforded me the opportunities to be able to do what I love to do, but also to have the flexibility that I need. And so one of the big things is that pulled me into private practice was that I became a mom. Um, I was pregnant with my eldest at the time, and I was working in a non-for-profit setting. And after my child was born, he needed surgery. And so I decided I needed to be there with him to help him recover and to help him, be thriving in the way that he is. He's wonderful. He's fantastic. Everything's perfect now. But it was a struggle. And what I realized is how was I going to be able to continue the work that I love to do? Because while I appreciated my time that I stayed home with him and helped him achieve health in the way that I wanted, I also realized that I love what I do. I knew I loved what I do, but I still loved what I did. And I didn't feel like myself and completely without that. And I wanted the opportunity to be able to be a mom, to be able to support my children in the way that I wanted, to live my life in the way that I wanted, but also to still serve those that is such an important piece for me. I feel like I have a set of skills that provides a service to others and helps them overcome and grow and heal from their trauma and from their experiences. And I didn't want to stop doing that. And private practice lets you do that in a completely different way than I have had and been able to find. And then in opening up my own private practice, I try my best to be able to do all the things. And then also I have a really great team here, and I try to also give them the space to do that too. I can't say, hey, I'm starting late on Wednesday and working late on Wednesday because I'm at music class, and then say, no, you can't do that too. So no, I try to create a space where, yes, you have a life outside of work and we get to do beautiful work when we're here, and let's do it all. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, after perusing your website and all that stuff, you guys do a lot. I'm not going to lie, you do a whole lot.
Yeah, we try.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
we are even offering groups now. So we have group therapy, we have individual services. We reach a bunch of different clients from those who are survivors of substance abuse and addiction or who have loved somebody, those that are struggling with trauma, those that are having relational issues, or those that are looking for a space of acceptance. We're very big on diversity and acceptance for all individuals, and we're just happy to provide that space.
Yeah, and then also just to do another side note, because like I mentioned, you guys do a lot. There's something interesting that I saw on your website that you guys provide are essentially groups or classes for people in the community, right? To give them more information, to ask them any questions, things like that. Can you speak on those a little bit?
Yes, yes. So part of what we also try to do is to have opportunities to give psychoeducation to the community. And so these are sometimes these one-time sessions where somebody's able to come in and be able to sit with a professional and to be able to ask questions, receive information in a safe and supportive space. So sometimes you may not feel comfortable asking those questions, like who do I say this to and who can I talk to? And then what happens? We Google things or we go down that rabbit hole and get some bad information or talk to her so and so, and now we're really getting bad information, possibly. No offense to so and so. This gives you an opportunity to sit across from a professional, somebody that's within the field, and ask some of those questions. So one of those groups that we do have that are just more kind of psychoeducational, so that means just getting information, like something about mental health in some way, shape, or form, is a caregiver trauma information meeting. And so that's for somebody that maybe an adult that loves a child or is caring for a child and maybe doesn't understand how trauma symptoms can come up, and what that might look like and what they should keep an eye out, or when is it time to get additional services for their child, like, hey, I think they might need therapy, how do I know that? And so this gives you an opportunity to just learn about how maybe trauma may show up, and then be able to serve and support your child in a different way, and hearing that from somebody that's from a mental health professional. One of the other groups that we have that's also supportive for the community as well is understanding the LGBTQ umbrella. So if you have a child or somebody that you love that maybe has come out as, being queer, as LGBTQ plus, and you're like, I don't know what all these acronyms mean. I don't know what all these initials mean. What is happening? What are these terms? I didn't grow up with these. What do I do? How do I support my kid or this child that I love? And how do I not hurt them? Right? Because that's also really important. How do I not say something that's offensive and I'm not trying to be, but maybe I just don't know? And so this is an opportunity to be able to go and sit with somebody that serves LGBTQ plus children, that's passionate about them. That's one of our therapists, Amanda, and being able to sit across from them and say, hey, can you please help me? Or my child came out to me as this. What does this mean? And be able to sit down and ask those questions and to be able to understand and be in a supportive space with other caregivers that also probably have questions too, and feel like you're not alone and that it's okay. You can still love your child and have questions. So yeah, those are two big ones that we have going on right now.
Perfect. So if you're in her area, definitely check those out. They'll sound very informational and it can help out a lot of people. Right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
thank you.
Shameless plug, right? All
Yeah.
right. So, right, as I was looking at your website, two things kept reoccurring. The
Okay.
word rise and that Phoenix symbol that you have. So was
Um,
there something special about Rise and the Phoenix symbol? So where you incorporated that into your private practice name and your brand?
yeah, I would love to be able to share that with you. So I actually also want to notice that the wall behind me is a turquoise color, which is a similar color that is from our logo. And I'll show you what he is talking about right there. So I don't know if you can see that, but
Oh,
that is our
mhm.
logo. I should probably bring up a better image there. But that's just our business card here. And so it says Rise Wellness and Therapy, and there is our Phoenix there in that beautiful turquoise color. And so when I started to open up my private practice and think about what was the name of the practice that I wanted to have, what were the symbols that I wanted to incorporate, what was the logo that I wanted. And so I am both Native American and Mexican American. My grandfather came to the United States as a bracero, And he worked the fields as a migrant farm worker along my grandmother. And one of the symbols of the migrant farm workers is a huelga eagle. It's a big, beautiful thunderbird that is black and has strong wings. And then also as a Native American, the thunderbird is a strong symbol as well. And so I thought about those two pieces and honoring my heritage and my ancestors and my grandparents and the struggles that they have endured so that I can be here. So I'm a first generation college student, a first generation graduate student, first generation business owner. And one of the things my abuela, my grandmother used to tell me is that, mija, one day you're going to be able to work in the office. And what I thought about in being able to open my own practice is that if my grandmother was still here, I would be able to say and tell her, I don't just work in the office, I own it. It's mine. And I can just imagine the joy and the pride that they would have in knowing that. So yes, honoring my heritage and where I came from is really important. The turquoise color, so the turquoise stone for Native Americans, I'm specifically Tewa, my tribe is Tewa. My other grandmother was a survivor of the American Indian schools here in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And so the symbol of a turquoise stone is a sign of strength and protection. And so I wanted the walls in our office and our logo to offer strength and protection to all those who walk through these doors and who are in these spaces. We know that coming here isn't easy, and we know that having to sit across from somebody and open up and be vulnerable isn't easy. So we thought we would anchor them in strength and protection, and using the turquoise to help symbolize that.
Wow. You put a lot more thought into the colors than I did. I'll definitely say that. But no, that is amazing though.
Thank
Very
you.
well thought out. Very well
Thank
thought
you.
out.
I appreciate it.
So, speaking of things that are well thought out, a lot of people, well, then again, all your fans would know this, but the people that are first tuning in probably won't know this is not your first interview, believe it or
Oh.
not. So, when I was doing my research on you, I noticed that you did an interview for the Morning Mix podcast on 101.9.
I
So,
did.
can you tell people about what that interview was
It
and how to go?
Sure. I think the interview went okay. And so basically, there was a notice that just kind of went out that said, "Hi, we're looking to speak to mental health professionals who might be able to talk about trauma and be able to answer some questions and to give information and support." And as we all may remember, because it's so fresh, right? In July the 4th, there was the terrible shooting that happened in Highland Park. And as a result of that, there's so much trauma that has happened. So this entire community, our city, our state, it was one of the biggest shootings that's happened here. That was really just so close to home. And at a parade at that, a place of celebration. And so I had responded and I said, this is who I am. This is the work that I've done. I would be available to be able to speak on these concerns and be able to offer, brief interventions and just validation and to help people understand trauma a little bit better and how the symptoms may be showing up after the shooting. And so they reached back out to me and they said, "We would love to interview you. Are you available tomorrow?" And I was like,
Oh,
"Okay, sure, that sounds fantastic." And so it was great. So I got a phone call from them. It was recorded, and then it aired. So yeah, it was a very big privilege for me to be able to speak in those spaces and to be able to feel like I'm giving back and supporting the community after such a struggle that has happened. So yeah, thank you.
well, you say you're not famous, but somehow they knew you were one of the people to contact. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right. But speaking about that interview, right? You talked, or you made at least an interesting point, with checking in with children,
Yeah.
right? and checking in. And I could be getting this wrong because I listened to this last night as I was doing my research for this. So please correct me if I'm wrong here. But you're checking in with them, checking to see how they're feeling body wise, making sure nothing felt out of place or anything like that. Could you talk about that a little bit more?
I'm sorry, I think you might be speaking about like the somatic symptoms that may be coming up. Is that correct?
There you go. Yeah, probably.
Okay,
Mhm.
so when I think about somatic symptoms, so for those that don't know what somatic means, somatic is a fancy way of saying things that are happening in your body that aren't directly medical
Yes.
related. So, if you are having indigestion, that's medically related. Okay. But if you're having discomfort in your abdomen, in your stomach area, and it's not connected to anything that's medical, um, that's somatic. That can be connected to stress, that can be connected to anxiety or fear, or any of the emotions that could potentially happen. And so helping to notice where those somatic symptoms are, not only in your body, but maybe a child, and helping them to learn to recognize that is one of the first steps that we have that helps you regulate your emotions. Um, so one of the things that happens is that our bodies, we can move so quick. Um, and if you're able to start to notice your somatic symptoms, I like to think of them as flags. They're those little flags that kind of go off that say, hey, something's going on inside of you. What's happening? And if you're able to notice those flags, then you'll be able to name your feelings. And then once you name your feelings, you're then able to say, what is it do I need? What is it? How is it that I can receive help? Because we need to do something with those feelings. And so, if it's okay, can I give a quick example? Because this sounds a whole lot like a lot of words and doesn't feel concrete.
All right,
Is that
yeah,
okay?
go for it. Go for it.
Uh, so, a common example I love to give is that how do you know you're hungry? So, think for a minute, what are the symptoms inside of your body? What are the flags that go off that let you know you're hungry? Well, I can say for myself, my stomach starts rumbling. I feel a little bit empty. My head feels a little bit light. Um, Maybe I'm a little bit more irritable and hangry.
Oh, that's
um,
me.
right, I'm definitely hangry.
Mhm.
But so these little kind of signs are going off, and you're able to say, "Oh, my stomach feels empty. It's rumbling. I feel lightheaded. I'm kind of irritable. I must be hungry. I'm hungry." Oh, so now we noticed our symptoms. We were then able to notice our feeling. The feeling we have here is hunger. And then what do we do with that? Now, sometimes people get the misinterpretation that we just need to validate our feelings. Oh, I'm so sorry you're hungry. That must be terrible. Great. I'm still hungry. What are you going to do with that hunger? Well, we need to feed you. And what is it that you want to eat? Maybe you want a glass of water. Maybe you need a meal. Maybe you just want a snack, or maybe you just want a dessert. And all of that may change. And so it's just about meeting your body with where it is in that moment. So maybe the sensations you have tell you that you're sad. Okay, these sensations told you you're sad. What is it that you need? And notice that it may change every time, and that's okay. And we can just meet us with where we're at. So I hope that helps.
Oh, yeah, that definitely helps. The reason why I brought such or a big attention to it. So for people like me, of
Hmm.
course, not people like you, but people like me, of course, people that don't work with children, I'm only 18 plus here in my private practice. And
Hmm.
I think at my current job, I go as low as 16 since I sometimes see high school students, right?
Hmm.
It's a really great tool to have in your tool belt, just in case I get put into a situation where I do have to work with a child. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. And I can definitely use that if they're like, hey, Corsair, here you go. Help out this child. And I'm like, Vanessa, say again. Right.
You can go back and look at this video and then
Right.
call me for more tips.
Exactly. Right. All right. So then, speaking of stuff that you guys are doing, is there anything or any current projects that you guys are working on at your private practice that you would want people to be aware about?
Sure, definitely. There's a couple things that are happening. So one, we have a lot of different groups that are happening right now for the month of October, which we're really excited about. We have two DBT groups. So we have a DBT for teens group that is starting. We also have a DBT for adults group. So we have those two options that are happening, and that are a really great opportunity. So if you don't know what DBT is, I'm using random acronyms again right now. And so the DBT groups are specifically about helping you learn skills to help regulate your feelings and ideally move to using wise mind. Wise mind is when you are using both your emotional kind of brain as well as your logical brain and having them work together so that you can move forward, not using just one side, but ideally both. And so those are really great skills that you can start to develop, especially if you're feeling like you're having some struggles with that. So again, there's teens and adults. So those are two groups that are happening. Um, one of the other groups that we have going on is talking about our 20s. One of our therapists is amazing. Her name is Haley. And what she's realized is that she has met a lot of different clients in her work that are in their 20s, and it's hard. It's really difficult to be in your 20s. There's all different types of challenges from dating, from family, from trying to differentiate yourself from your family. I just used a big word. What does differentiate mean? It means kind of creating your own identity independent of your family. And what connection do you continue to have with them, or what separation do you need to have with them? How do you manage dating and relationships in a time of apps, in a time post-COVID? All of those are really challenging things to kind of try to navigate. Plus, feeling like you're trying to become a young professional, you're trying to make moves, you feel like you should already own your mini mansion and be established, and just trying to accept with where you're at. So it's a really great group to be able to help be in a space to process those feelings with other 20-year-olds. How great is that? Another group that we have is actually speaking about COVID is coping post-COVID. So COVID happened, right? That was real. And that was tough. And now we're kind of in this different stage where we're not all running around with masks at all times and like locking down, and we're allowed to go outside and do public things and navigate things in a completely different way. But things have changed. Our connections with others have changed. Our coping skills have changed. Our no coping skills have changed. We're all in a really difficult spot. So we also have another group that is called Coping with COVID, to help people just kind of come together in a space and to kind of process that with one another and how challenging it has been. And being able to do that in the space with a mental health professional, which I also think is another great one. And then our last group that we have going on is our LGBTQ plus parent support group. So if you have a child who identifies as LGBTQ plus or queer or somewhere along that umbrella there, and you're like, I need a supportive space where I'm able to just be with other caregivers that are going through this experience as well. And, I want to be supportive and I want tips. And I would also like to meet other parents. And maybe be able to hang out, or maybe be able to make connections. So yeah, just kind of having that space as well. So that's another group that we have going on. So we're really excited about those. And I can share with you the flyers if that's something that's helpful. So if people want to click on those and sign up, they can. And one of the last things that we have going on is I was the initial recipient of the Trinidad Aguirre Armenta Art Foundation grant. And so what's really beautiful about that is that we received additional grants and funding to help our clients utilize art while processing here in the therapy space. And so we're really excited to be able to have our clients be able to come in and use art in a completely different way. And we're looking forward to being able to offer also some art opportunities to process and to have a therapeutic space as well. So those are to come. But we're really excited about being able to receive that grant. So thank you.
Oh wow, yeah, you guys are busy.
We try.
All right, so then that brings us to the final parts of this interview. So we're going to talk about some IMHCA stuff.
Oh, I would love that. Yay,
Right, exactly. All right, so if you can remember, when did you first join IMCA?
Sure, 2013.
Oh, so you've been with us for a while.
A little while since grad school.
Mhm. Right. I would say, well, you beat me by a year. I joined in 2014, so you won that one. All right, so then I guess then the next one is what caused you to run for a board position? Or did you even want to be secretary, or did you want to be something else?
Well, no, I definitely wanted to be the secretary. So in opening up the private practice here, we've been open for actually just about 1 year, a year and some change. Um, and so in opening up the practice, I was looking for opportunities to be able to still be a part of a bigger community at large and being able to serve other mental health clinicians and being able to help advocate. And one of the things that I actually realized and noticed during COVID was how much the Illinois Mental Health Counseling Association does in regards to advocacy and legislation. And I so appreciated that, especially during COVID. I mean, I never did telehealth prior to COVID, and now I do telehealth all the time. And now I know I can do it specifically because of advocacy and legislation that happened. And so I realized I was like, wow, this is such beautiful work that's happening and it's serving our community well. And I will be honest, I felt unknowledgeable about the amount of work that was being put into it. And so when I saw the opportunity, I received the email, hey, we're accepting nominations. Or if you would like to run. And so I said, you know what? Yes, I would love to be able to do that. I would love to be a part of a larger community and being able to serve in a different way and to learn more about serving because I hope to be able to continue with the board and being able to give back in the years to come, maybe in a bigger way. I'm kind of in a small way right now as a secretary, which is why I chose secretary so I could learn more and do more, hopefully, as time goes on. That was my hand thing. I don't know what that was. I'm gonna stop doing that.
Hey,
But yeah,
I
that's it.
appreciate it.
It's a visual.
Exactly. It's a great visual.
Very high tech.
So here, mhm. Right? So hear that everybody, she did want to run for secretary. See, secretary is a really great and it's a really tough position. So we definitely need the best of the best of the best to do that job.
I
And
agree.
we're
Thank you.
really happy that you're doing it.
Thanks so much. I'm happy to be here.
Mhm. So then, what are your current goals that you're working towards being on the board for IMCA for the 2022-2023 year?
So some of the goals that I'm hoping to do is to help with outreach. So ideally, one of the big goals that I think we have is helping to connect with graduate students and helping to bring them up and help them be like the next runners here. Because yes, we need new members that are going to continue doing this work and be a part of it. Another goal that I have that I'm hoping to participate as well is to help bring individuals in. So we can't do it all as the board. Like it's impossible. It's not possible for us to do this, especially as this isn't our job. It's a volunteer opportunity, right? We're serving for this time period. Um, and so one of the things I feel is that there's individuals that want to be a part of it and that want to help make things happen and want to help with advocacy, specifically with mental health. We all joined this field because we're passionate about it, but they may not know how to work within Illinois Mental Health Counseling Association to do that and what opportunities might be available. So a really big piece for me is to help make those connections happen and to help bring people in and bring people together because I think people have a lot of really great strengths, definitely strengths that I don't have, right? I'll own that. And being able to ask them to come and serve and to help make this all happen for us to all work together, I think is really important as well. And then the last one is I'm really big on professional development. I love professional development. I think it's the best. We also it's required. So but I also
Right.
just appreciate it. I don't think anybody goes in this field not wanting professional development because it's something you're going to do for the rest of the time. And so I'm really excited about helping to create and foster opportunities for professional development and growth for Illinois Mental Health Counseling Association members. So whether that is one serving to provide a training, or two, helping to advocate to receive some type of discount, and to get additional training outside. That is something that I'm really passionate about and hopeful for. And so I'm hoping to make those things happen. I know those are big goals, but we're going to aim high.
Yeah, exactly. Aim high, shoot for the stars. If you miss the stars, you still land up there somewhere.
Yep, you're on a
Exactly.
moon. Moons are good. Or Jupiter. Jupiter's close right now, so that might be good.
Yeah, there you go. It might happen, it might not happen, but we'll see what happens. That's all that
We're,
can happen.
we're gonna try anyway.
Right? Exactly. All right. So then, before we get to the most important question,
Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
exactly, right? Is there anything that you would like to say that I haven't had a chance to ask you about?
Oh. Is there anything I would like to say that you haven't had a chance to ask about? Um, well, I guess I just want to start by saying thank you. Um, Thank you for those that helped to elect me to be able to serve as a secretary. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to serve in the Illinois Mental Health Counseling Association. And, Corsair, I want to thank you as well, because it's my first time working with one of the presidents, because I've never been on the board, but others may not know this, but I get to be in the meetings, right? Because I'm on the board. Um, and I am just really excited about your passion and everything that you're doing for the Illinois Mental Health Counseling Association. I don't know when we're doing your interview, but I'll be happy to be there and help fangirl it for you and be like, yeah, he's doing amazing things. Let's talk about that. Because I think you're busy making magic happen and doing fantastic things. And I'm really excited to be able just to serve next to you while you're making these moves for the Illinois Mental Health Counseling Association. I think we're so lucky and privileged to be able to have you be a part of it. And so, yeah, congratulations to you. And thank you for letting me be a part of this. That's awesome. I appreciate it. So that's probably what I would want to say.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. And yeah, don't worry, everybody will get to hear about a lot of what I'm about to do when our newsletter comes out. So stay tuned for that. We're always looking for people to help. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see what happens when we do my interview. My interview might be what, 3 hours long?
That'd be
But
amazing.
hey, don't tempt me. I can do it. I've done it
I believe it.
before.
I
All
definitely
right.
believe it.
Right. All right. So now we get to the most important question.
Oh, there's another one. Okay.
Yeah. Final question and the most important. Where can people find you?
Where can they find me? At Rise Wellness and Therapy. So, so you can go to www.risewellnessandtherapy.com, which is our website. It'll be linked below. Yes. Yes. It'll be in the
Hopefully,
links.
fingers crossed.
Fingers
It should
crossed.
be.
And then you also can follow us on Facebook as well as on Instagram. So rise.wellness.therapy for Instagram, and we're Rise Wellness and Therapy PLLC on Facebook. So yeah, so come and reach out to us. You can also, connect for services if you want that, flyers, all that jazz. Everything's on our website, as well as linked on our social media. So yeah, that's where you can find us and me.
Right, most importantly. And for people that don't know, she has a media contact for media inquiries, so that's how famous she really is.
It's our admin. So admin at Rise Wellness and Therapy.com.
All right, perfect. So you heard it first here. Definitely get in touch with her before she becomes super famous, off to Hollywood and all that fun stuff.
I
No?
still have a year of service for Illinois Mental Health Counseling Association. I'm not going anywhere.
Hey, if she can get us a movie deal, I will let you off the hook.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll work on it.
All right, perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, everybody. This was the interview. Thank you guys very much for joining in, and I will catch you guys in the next one. All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye.